Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Minot. I'm an account executive at Snapchat, focusing on health and wellness advertisers. And I'm super excited to have this special guest here with me today. I'll let her introduce herself, but she has over 18 years of global marketing experience at some major brands, and her current role is at Invisalign, which I'm sure is a very big household name right now.
Fantastic. Nice to meet everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, good. Well, thanks so much for being here today. Like Alex said, I lead marketing over at the Invisalign brand. We are here in the Bay, which many people don't know, so that's super exciting as well. We're a brand for adults, as many people know, but we are also a brand for teenagers and are here to talk to you a little bit more about what we're doing on the teen side in partnership with Alex and team. So looking forward to the discussion today.
For sure. So first of all, raise your hand if you're a current Invisalign customer.
Yes, love to see that.
I kid you not, I'm not just saying this. My wife just finished her treatment, and she's been carrying around this case for like 3 months straight. Anytime it's not in the same room as her, we snack a lot. It's a very upsetting thing. She has to get up to get it. But everyone's heard of Invisalign. A lot of people in our adult years are now getting it too. But I want you to tell us a little bit more about your brand's journey to kind of its current consumer from where it used to be demographically and their behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think many people here in the room would agree that you know us as a brand for adults. And that is really where we started. So we're a company that is 26 years old. And 26 years ago, our founders thought that there had to be a better way to straighten your teeth than cement metal onto your teeth, thread wire through it, and then pay somebody to do that to you. So that's how the company actually started. And for years, we marketed to adults only because we were only a product that was suitable for adults. But like any other tech company, we innovate, and innovation is the backbone of who we are. And in about 1989 or so, we actually started to create a product for teens. But the interesting thing is that we didn't actually start marketing to teenagers or to parents that Invisalign worked for teens until about 2017. So what I always say is, we're about 7 years in to our journey as being a brand for teens. We also are innovating and continuing to innovate where we are creating a new category for kids, and that's palatal expansion. Today, there is a medieval contraption that parents have to turn a screw in their child's mouth to expand that palate. And yes, it is as anxiety-producing for the parent as it sounds, because it is a medieval torture device. Those are my words in terms of how to call it. So we're innovating in the kids space as well and creating new products for kids and are really excited. We just got FDA approval in December, and now we're going to be marketing that pretty largely here in the US.
That's great. I know there's that music video with Katy Perry last Friday night when she's wearing the headgear and stuff too. So we clearly all have this memory of our younger teenage years getting orthodontia treatment. Thank God there was no social media then taking pictures of us, because I don't think any pictures exist of me with my braces on. But based on the fact that Invisalign is really trying to reach that younger demo, I think it makes a lot of sense why you've been a longtime partner at Snap and an advertiser on the platform. Can you tell us more about your strategy of meeting Gen Z, which is one of the largest demos we have on Snap, and how AR plays into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we knew when we started marketing to teens and to Gen Z, we had to meet them where they were at, right? And Snap has been a big partner for us since the early days of 2017 when we started to market to Gen Z. And meeting them on their terms really means being where they are, right? We know that teens are on Snapchat, so we had to be on the platform, but had to be on the platform in a way that would drive relevancy for Gen Z and in a way where they would engage with us. So being a tech company ourselves, we had to lean into the AR lens and really use that lens and use the AR technology as a way to get in front of Gen Z and get them to notice that Invisalign was a brand for them as well.
Yeah, we talk a lot about AR with brands, about how like we live in this world of virtual mirror. Like we're always looking at ourselves on our phone, whether it's FaceTime or just sending a snap to a close friend. And so AR plays a really important role, especially in like physical appearance and advertisers that take advantage. I want to call out this lens second from the right, which is actually called a 3D Bitmoji lens. And that's kind of the latest thing that we've done together. I don't know if anyone else has seen these before. They're super new on Snap. It's definitely like the latest and greatest that we have. There's only a handful of companies that have really executed this. They're McDonald's, it's Elf Cosmetics, very Gen Z focused brands. And so I would love to know kind of how you saw 3D Bitmoji as an opportunity and how you executed it so well.
So, it comes down to a couple of things. I think inherently for us, experimentation is a core part of our culture. Right? It's how we leaned into and why we leaned into the AR lens in the first place. And with that experimentation from a cultural standpoint, what that means for us is really we're going to try some things that are going to work, but we're probably going to try a lot of things that don't work. So it's that mentality that helped us really look at what are the latest and greatest trends on Snap, what are the latest and greatest trends when it comes to teens, where are they playing, where are they engaging. So building on the success of the AR lens, we went to the Snap team actually and said, let's co-create together. And that's one of the things that I'll give the Snap team a lot of credit for is really co-creating with us. And what we came up with together was the Bitmoji lens, right? We saw all of the engagement that Elf was getting. We saw all of the engagement that McDonald's was getting, and we said, okay, well, if we are a brand for Gen Z, we've got to try this as well. It may not be right for us, or it may work wonders for us, but we knew we had to try and then measure what those results look like so that we can then learn from it. And in good news, it worked really well.
Yeah, that lens has been shared or seen by over 4 million Snapchatters. And then even just going back to Bitmoji, from our own kind of data, over 85% of that 13 to 24-year-old audience in the US uses and has a Bitmoji. So it's definitely a good fit for them.
I think that's a really important data point, right? Because that's a data point that helps showcase the behavior of Gen Z, right? It's not as though we're trying to create things and bring Gen Z to us. It's more, we want to lean into the behaviors that Gen Z already has and find a way to be relevant and insert ourselves into teen culture, into Gen Z culture.
Yeah, that's great. I actually have what would be considered, this is the challenging question that we get asked a lot. Invisalign is kind of on the direct response side. Like the idea is we're driving an efficient lead or capturing this data about a customer and then driving them to go follow up at a dentist or a local place where they can then be seen. How do you think about something like AR, which is more of a consideration or awareness play that's mid to upper funnel, when your CFO and everyone else is looking at all media from like a very DR lens?
I love this question. So brand and performance marketing have become divorced in our industry for some reason, and we've all allowed it to happen, right? The reality is brand marketing has always been about performance. It's always been about driving sales, right? So yes, there are components of our strategy that are lower funnel, but more than anything, there's components of our strategy that are upper funnel, right? And they are upper funnel for a reason, because our buyer is not ready to buy today. We want to be in their mind, and we want them to think about Invisalign when they are ready to buy. And there's no better way for us to do that than to create a brand that Gen Z thinks is for them, right? So we create a brand for Gen Z by Gen Z, and there's no way we're going to do that without inserting ourselves into the cultural aspect of where they already are.
Yeah, and I think a lot of brands are too scared to try. We're all addicted to the returns that we see on platforms that are really efficient, but we don't know what else we could be kind of capturing or winning by trying something like this. I want to talk next about seasonal moments. There are lots of other folks that are up here on the stage talking about these and how they're important for their brands, but specifically I want to talk about them for Gen Z. because I think that they look a lot different than millennials like myself or Gen X moments. And the reason is because Gen Z, this younger generation, is super online. They're sharing amongst their closest friend all the time, and everything is pretty much way more visual and public than it was for us in some way. And so how big are the seasonal moments for Invisalign, and how do you capitalize on them?
Yeah, for Gen Z, the seasonal moments are really big for us, right? Because at the end of the day, we're an evergreen brand, right? Teens are going into an orthodontist office all the time. However, that said, there are moments that Gen Z cares about that are big moments in their lives. Prom is one of those, right? Junior prom as well. And so those are moments where Gen Z is engaging in their social feeds, they're engaging across all their platforms, and that's where Gen Z culture is. Prom, back to school, and many others. So for us, prom was really interesting because we know that there's a lot of get readies with me's. We know that it's a moment where people want to look good so that they can feel good, and confidence has always been the backbone of the Invisalign brand. So we worked with Snap to say there are certain moments like prom that we really want to own on the platform so that Invisalign and prom become synonymous with each other. And this was a moment that we also had some great success with.
Yeah, and I also love that we have some great brand lift metrics here on something that we were using for DR as well. So, and then I believe also for wellness brands too, New Year, New You is also a really big moment we see in the fitness space too.
Yeah, a little bit about New Year, New You, right? Particularly in the lens of Gen Z. Historically, this had been a moment that was only for adults, right? Kind of that New Year gym effect, if you will. But one of the things that we've really seen post-pandemic has been a focus on wellness really rise with Gen Z. And New Year being a moment in time where Gen Z is also reflecting on what do they want to be intentional about when it came to the new year. And so this is a newer moment for us when it comes to Gen Z because historically it had only been for adults. But we're really excited to lean into this moment as well and saw some great response from the Gen Z audience.
Yeah, that's great. I think some other moments I can think of that are coming up in the year, maybe not as applicable to Invisalign, but I know other advertisers are already talking about spring cleaning coming up.
Back to school.
Back to school, Olympics this summer. So there's lots of opportunities to capitalize in whatever way makes sense for your brand, I would say. What other emerging trends are you seeing with the younger generation across your business?
So this is always a fun question. I talked a little bit about culture already, right? One of the things that we're really seeing is the intersection of Gen Z and culture emerging with music. And so,
It's like
you know,
the TikTokification
the
almost, right?
TikTokification or whatever it is that you want to call it, but music post-pandemic has really taken off for Gen Z, and it's a cultural moment that people want to be a part of. I think people are really craving those IRL experiences and experiences that they can share together, where community building is actually happening, and then those moments are getting celebrated in socials, right? We just came off of an amazing moment in culture that was sports related, not music related, called the Super Bowl, but the music side of the house, right, is really fun. Like you think about Coachella, Gen Z is all over Coachella. You think about the tours that are coming up, Olivia Rodrigo's tour, right, Gen Z favorite, and Invisalign brand favorite as well. That tour sold out in minutes, really.
Yeah. I was saying Super Bowl is somewhat related to music because we're all sick of it, but you know, Taylor and Travis, but props to them and good win.
We're not sick of it.
Kamal was at the Super Bowl. Any takeaways from the Super Bowl, being there in person?
So a couple things. I mean, one, culture, right? As a brand, find a way to get all of us immersed in the culture of where people are. And you know, it's got to be relevant. For us, we had players that were there. We've got 400 plus players across all 32 teams. who use Invisalign for their smile. But it was a Gen Z moment for us as well, because one of the things that we did there is really wanting to elevate women and Gen Z women in particular on the global stage that's called the Super Bowl. So we passed the mic to Overtime Meg. How many people are familiar with Overtime here in the room? Yeah, a few of you guys. Overtime is fantastic, right? Kind of the ESPN of high school sports. But we passed the mic to Overtime Meg and put her on the red carpet as a co-host with legend Mark Ingram, right? It was a great way to use that global stage to elevate her voice. And then we also ran a contest and found a junior reporter who is 13 years old and an aspiring journalist. And we gave her the mic as well on the red carpet to interview, all the greats that were there at the NFL Honors event. So, for us, it's more than just an event focused on athletes, but really a way for us to elevate Gen Z and to elevate women.
No, that's great. Great to hear. Well, that's all I have in our conversation specific to Gen Z and how to kind of talk to them and speak their language. I wanted to close this out before we open for Q&A with a lightning round, similar to what Rick did earlier. I think it's a fun way to get to know someone pretty quickly. So I'm going to give you two options, and you just kind of say which one you prefer. Ready?
Ready.
Sand or snow?
Sand.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
NorCal or SoCal?
NorCal, baby, born and raised.
Martini or wine?
Wine.
Starbucks or Phil's?
Phil's.
These are all good
It's a
answers.
Bay Area gal through and through.
Bravo or HBO?
HBO.
No shame on Bravo, though. And then this is, you can also plead the fifth on this if you want, but TikTok or Snap?
Snap?
Love it. Let's go. Okay, before we open up to Q&A, though, it's been great talking to you, and I do want you to kind of give you the chance to tell everyone here, like, what should they be excited for and what should they expect from Invisalign this year?
Lots of great things.
Yeah.
So, culture, I talked about it already. Expect to see us at the intersection of brand and cultural moments that are important and essential to Gen Z, as well as to adults. So think music, think, Olivia Rodrigo, think Taylor Swift, think all the great music festivals that Gen Z will be at. And then think about women in sports, right? You'll see us elevating women in sports. We also just had a great collab with Kristen Juszczyk, who's a fashion designer and also has an Invisalign smile. And we were really excited to partner with her and get her voice elevated as well in the marketplace. Plus, she created a cool Invisalign puffer vest for us.
That's awesome.
As well to, again, really lean into culture. So expect to see a lot more from us in that area, not just here in the US, but globally across all markets.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, thank you for all the time today.
Thank you, Alex.
And then I wanted to open it up if anybody had any questions. There's no promo codes, but anything else you might want to know from Kamal.
Not too familiar with the space, but I dabbled. And back when I was dabbling, there was a brand that was around that I feel like was a major competitor of yours. That brand's no longer around. Have you found many other little competitors have jumped in to absorb that space? Or since that company's gone, you've kind of got some elbow room to maneuver a little bit more?
Yeah, great question, and I love answering this question. So first and foremost, right, I always say our competition is braces. 90% of teens in the US, our largest market, still get braces today, right? So just take a step back and think about that. You've got a product called Invisalign that works just as effectively. It's less painful than braces. It's fewer emergency appointments, right? Which is good for the parents, good for the child as well. And it's better oral hygiene. So our competition has been and will always be braces until that 90% becomes squashed. Now, there are other clear aligners in the marketplace, who try to be like us. I always say competition is good in the marketplace, right? It makes us better as a competitor, and we say we're here for it. We're going to play the long game, and let's see who makes it. There's some who haven't made it, And then there's some who are still around. But one of the things that's really important for us is consumers get duped all the time thinking that they have Invisalign when they don't. So one of the things that you're going to start seeing from us more so as well is really helping create awareness and educating consumers about how do you know if you have the real Invisalign or how do you know if you have a knockoff, right? And it's really easy. Our logo is on our product. It's on the clear aligner itself, so that when we do have some of those competitors who are chomping at our heels, you know, we're really going to use the trust that we have from consumers to ensure that they're not getting duped, right? To help them really understand why Invisalign is right for them versus some other knockoff brand that they might think they're getting.
I actually have a follow-up question to Rick. Do you think there's an opportunity to potentially almost from an empathy angle to gain new customers from those brands potentially in a way in which like, hey, I was in the middle of my treatment and like this company no longer exists. Like, can you help?
I love that question.
Yeah.
So when that company went under, right, all of those patients were left in a lurch. They really were. Like, think about it. You paid for your smile. You all of a sudden are mid-treatment, but you don't have anyone to go to because the company that you purchased from is gone. So we definitely reached out to that community and said, hey, we're here for you.
That's great.
If you need somebody, call us, right? We are here and we will help you get hooked up with a orthodontist in your community so that you can really get the health care that you deserve.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. I think it must be so interesting from an innovation standpoint to market to Gen Zs because they want to be the best version of themselves, like all of us. But they're also celebrating their individuality. It's about body positivity. We have gaps in our teeth, and that's okay. So I was just wondering how those insights have maybe driven new innovation, new thinking. Maybe there's not one Invisalign smile, but many different kinds now. So just wondering about that.
I love this question. Thank you for asking it, right? There is no one perfect smile. The best smile is the smile that's right for you and the smile that you want. So that insight has led to innovation in our product, right? So we can move teeth, specific teeth, any which way you want, and we can hold your teeth in a certain way as well. So I'll give you guys a great insight. Who here knows Kavan Looney from the Warriors, right? Many hands go up. So Kavan, he is using Invisalign, and when we first started talking to Kavan, he's got a gap in his front two teeth, and he said, hey, listen, this is me. This is my signature, right? I want to straighten everything else out, but I want to keep the gap in my front two teeth. He said, is that okay? I said, not only is that okay, but we are absolutely customizing our product to meet you where you are and what your needs are. So Kavan's using Invisalign right now. He's a couple of months in, but when he's done, he's going to have that gap in his front two teeth, and then that is the story that he told when he launched with his smile story with Invisalign, so that everybody knew it was a custom experience just for him. And that's true for anybody who wants any type of custom experience. In Japan, as an example, it's really attractive culturally to have your canines be sticking out a little bit, right? It's considered a very attractive feature. So we innovated our product to push those canines out while all the other teeth stay in place to really help people get the best smile that's right for them.
That's great.
How many people here knew that Invisalign could work for teens? All right, handful. That's great.
How many will put their teen through braces versus Invisalign? There you go.
I like that. No hands.
Well, if that's all the questions we have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.